West Ham have officially announced the signing of Hadji Malick Diouf from Slavia Prague for the price of 22 million euros plus apparently 5 million euros in add-ons. Conversion rate, about 20 mil or something like that, and around about in pounds sterling. And yeah, do you know what? It's good to say we've finally got our first signing out of the way. First summer signing, 20 years old Senegalese international left back / left wing back. He's probably going to be a left wing back for West Ham. Absolutely bossed it against England for Senegal recently. And like I said in my here we go sort of response video, it's the profile of player that we need. I want to see more Dioufs all around the pitch. I want to see more of that. I want to see some of that in the midfield is what we really need. Quick, strong, direct. You know, I've been saying since last season or even the season before, that's the kind of player we need. And it looks like that's where we're going. We'll talk about, obviously, someone's mentioned there, Harvey Elliott. Slightly different profile, but quality, skillful, good on the ball. Mixture between athletes, physical athletes and ballers and technicians. Get that mixture right. We're going to look like a very good side. Now, interesting. So I didn't realize this either, Billy. Someone says most expensive left back / right back of all time. We don't usually spend that much on fullbacks, which is very interesting. And this is a player who has been very highly rated. I'm sure not many of us watch Slavia Prague. There's just so much football to watch. I've heard very good things from the Slavia Prague fan base. Had some in the comments, and for a lot of people that watched him, they see him as a Champions League caliber player. And for me, I'm all about profiles now, the names, what are your attributes, what do you bring to the side? It's very clear we've needed to bring the age of the side down, the average age of the side down. We've needed to inject some pace. I've been crying out for some pace in this side since, forever. And now we've finally got it. Sam there rightfully asked, will Emerson stay? This is what I was sort of discussing in my previous video, the future of Emerson or Scholes. Now, it's mostly looking like Emerson will leave. Apparently, he's got 1 year left on his contract. So it looks like he'll be leaving, which is interesting because it leaves us with Scholes and Diouf as our left wing back options, unless he's going to play Somerville there. Somerville showed in his last game for West Ham, which was Potter's first game, that he has some defensive attributes. He can put a tackle in, he can win the ball back and progress. So Somerville perhaps could be an option there if we are playing this. It does seem like we are going to be playing this back three, however you want to look at it, next season. Apparently, Diouf did play as a left wing back for Slavia Prague last season when they won the league, which is good. So it'll fit straight in. And look, people have mixed on the system. Should we play a back four, back five? What should we play? I don't care about the formation as long as we are better to watch and the results are better. I don't care whether you play 10 at the back. Obviously, that's an extreme example. But the point is, the formation doesn't matter so much to me. As long as it fits the players, we're better to watch and we get results. So if he wants to play back five, and last season, we were better with that back five, even though the team wasn't completely built for it yet. When Potter did play a back four, we weren't as good. So that's going to be interesting. A lot of people said, I've checked out the highlights. I just said, watching him again, highlights you only get so much. But the one thing about highlight is you get a feel for the player and the type of player they are. It doesn't tell you how good they are on a game-to-game basis, things like concentration levels and, all those nuances. Yeah, it's not going to get you with highlights, how a player is over the course of 90 minutes, mistakes and things like that. But again, it gives you a feeling of the type of player they are. And this is the type of player we need at West Ham. You got Diouf on the left, Wan-Bissaka on the right. And yeah, we're looking good in it. Obviously, it does raise questions about Scholes. Scholes could be tried in. Some people have said he could be a midfielder. He could be a centre back. I don't know. We can try it. But I do want to see the progression of Scholes, because if not, we're going to need someone else if Emerson's going. I like the idea of. Thanks for the call to action there, Thunder Road. Hope you're good, mate. Long-time viewer. I do like the idea of having an experienced player and a young player in the same position. And you have that changing of the guard. Because unless, Potter's looked at Diouf and seen him and said, you know what? He has the qualities. He has the ability to come in and start straight away. There's always an element of risk. I've said this before. There's always risk in football. But looking at him, he does look like he fits. He will fit the Premier League. He will suit the Prem. He looks physical. Like I said, he looks quick. I think he'll fit in quite quickly. So we'll see. A report saying we're looking to bring in a centre mid. Oh my gosh! Please now go and get a quality midfielder in the same mold, in the same profile. That's what I want. I want a box-to-box midfielder that's in a similar profile to Diouf. So, yeah, honestly. He did well against Saka. Yeah, he locked up Saka for Senegal in the England game. Hopefully that will be a sign he could do that in the Prem as well. That's what I want to see. That's what I want to see. So I'm glad we've got him in now. It's the 15th of July. He's ready for the first preseason game. We're getting him in early. How long is it going to take us to get the next one in? He looks like an absolute unit. He does 6 foot, and he's built for his age as well. Like I said, he's 20 years old. I think he's 29. 20 and a half. Sorry, he turned 20 in December. So he's still got some room for development. He's still got some room to grow and learn. So the fact that I think he was playing such a pivotal part for Slavia last season, and like I said, their title-winning season at such a young age, he's got good experience. We aren't signing someone that's been like an academy player and got some minutes off the bench and bit part. He's been an integral player. So yeah, hopefully he's going to be exactly what we need. And it seems to be a good call from Carl McCauley. Of course, you never know, like in transfers. You never know. I can never fully talk about a player and go, yes, he's going to be a success. But if we get more players like this in the team, we will not be anywhere near as boring as we were last season. Players that are more direct, players that are quicker. None of this passing it round side to side bollocks. Diouf, he looks like the sort of player that wants to drive forward, try to move and get the ball forward. That's what we need. None of this stand there, look around, pass. Vardy on a 1-year contract. We do need another striker. If we sign Vardy on a 1-year, I'm not against it. I'm really not against it. We'd have to play, though, to his strength. We have to be a counter-attacking team. He likes the ball, like, over the top, in behind, that sort of stuff. If we're going to play to Vardy's strengths for a year, I'm not against it. But I would like a younger striker. I would like a younger, quicker striker. Apparently, it's not ruled out that Antonio comes back and gets a new deal. They're still monitoring him. What you did, Ings is going to Middlesbrough. I think Ings will do a good job in the Championship, to be fair. I think he'll be all right. I think he'll be all right for Borough. I really do. We're so behind Vardy, are we there? Yeah, like, listen, it would have to be the right deal. I'm not, like I said, Vardy, you'd have to play to his strengths, and I don't think we necessarily will. So if it was a 1-year contract, then he wouldn't end up like Ings, as Steve said, because if he's crap after a year, he's gone. He's out the door. But yeah, Ings did nick a living from us. But yeah, midfield has to definitely be a priority. Like I say, yep, an 8. I want to get a box to box midfielder, someone that can drive the ball forward. People are talking about Harvey Elliott, which isn't that sort of player. But in terms of the likeness that we can get Harvey Elliott, look, his time at Liverpool, I think, is coming to an end. I don't see much opportunities going into next season for Harvey Elliott with the players they've got, Wirtz and Salah and Gravenbergs and all of these players in and around the midfield and the wings. And so I think he's going to have to move on for playing time. Will we get him? It depends on who else is in for him. It depends on the competition. If we get in early, if he's willing to come to West Ham, which will be the question, and we can convince him and we get in early, we can get him, right? If a club that has Europe comes in, could turn his head and make it difficult. I think it'll be between him and James McAtee, both sort of smaller, trickier players, which you can afford to have a few of them in your team, as long as you also have those physical units like Diouf. You got like we were saying Friday Night Pine, like I've been saying for ages, we need balance in this team. There is no balance. Harvey Elliott's unlikely because of the cost. This is where we're going to come unstuck, isn't it? In terms of finances. So we've spent around 20 mil of the Kudus money, because apparently we have to sell to buy. So we spent around 20 mil of the Kudus money on Diouf, which leaves, let's say, around 30 million, right? Because we'll count agents' fees, and I know they've spent 54.5, but let's say 30 million now. 30 million does not get Harvey Elliott. Apparently it's 40 million is the price. That's what they're looking at. So, yeah, he won't get anything. We won't get him for that. So for 30 million, we're going to have to go and try and find another gem, another Diouf in another position, or wait till we sign more players. Like if we're going to sign Emerson, then do it sooner rather than later. Rodriguez was linked with a move that apparently turned out not to be the case, but get him gone. Start to look at these positions. We don't have a lot of assets to sell. That's the problem at West Ham. We're very limited in terms of players that we can definitely get money for, that we are willing to part with. We've obviously got to find out Paqueta's future. Once we find out Paqueta's future, then obviously a decision will be made whether he should be sold or kept. Unless we're getting serious money, I would keep him, even though he hasn't been the most consistent. Matt Rainey with a 199 super chat. Thank you, Matt. Dan, please let Scott know my comment wasn't about him. I can't remember what comment it was, but I don't think Scott is aware. He hasn't said anything. He hasn't brought attention to it. So I think he either knew or he wasn't aware. But no worries. Thank you very much, Matt, as always. Interesting. So Taiwo Anoia, I think that's how you say it. We were linked with him in January, weren't we? The Forest striker. I'm sure we were linked with him in January. I don't think his numbers are great. I know it's not all about numbers, it's profiles. So it depends. It depends in terms of like how he's going to fit in, what the price is, maybe a loan. And that's what we'll have to look at, the loan deals. Aguerd can be sold. Yeah, apparently with Aguerd, there's some issues in terms of getting the price we want. Apparently West Ham are not willing to sell Aguerd on the cheap. And I think they're looking for at least around 20 million for Aguerd. So if we don't get that, then they're happy to keep him, which I think is fair. We can't just sell everyone on the cheap because we're desperate. And I would be very interested to see Aguerd in this team. Aguerd, Kilman, and Todibo. If Todibo can get his fitness up, please let him get his fitness up. I really rate Todibo, but it was painfully obvious the guy was so unfit last season. That last game at Ipswich, he was blowing out of his arse in the last 30 minutes. Oh, right. Yeah, I don't think Scott saw that, Matt, about the 4 hours thing. We take it all in good fun, the comments. Can you get your car ready and take Mavropanos to Roma? I'll have to do my driving lesson soon. I need to find. I've always put it off. When you live in London, transport it's easier to get public transport than it is to drive. But I'll try and do that and drive. If not, I'll get him a plane ticket and escort him to Roma. But he is linked with Roma. Yeah, if we can get something, for Mavropanos, please. This is the problem. We do not have a director of football that is shrewd enough to work out good deals for us and negotiate. That is the problem. Did you see this clip showing his stats? 4 games, 40 goals. Who is that? Whose stats is that? Is that Taiwo Awoniyi? Are you talking about Diouf? Because if it's Diouf, I'm not worried because he's a left wing back. If it's Taiwo and Taiwo, then I'm worried for him. But then we should definitely still clear. How do I feel about Chelsea winning the Club World Cup? Yeah, listen, I feel nothing. Good on them, all of that bloody stuff. It's Chelsea, innit? They're just going to go mad now in the transfer window and spend a lot of money in the transfer window. And hopefully, well, no, we've got no one that we want to sell that they could take. They could have come in for Kudus. Garnacho on loan. I'd take Garnacho on loan. That's a shout. Garnacho on loan. My problem with Garnacho is I don't like the guy. Listen, I think there's a talent there. I just don't like him. But the problem is with me his attitude. We don't need players coming in with bad attitudes. It would be massively tempting because there is a talent there. Diouf, I'm not bothered about his goal scoring record as much. So we'll see. Like I say, as long as he does his part in getting that ball up the pitch, then I'm happy. You know what I mean? Like we just need someone that could. But I feel good about Füllkrug. I think Füllkrug as a striker, if he can stay fit, I'm getting flashbacks of Andy Carroll now, the new Dagenham and Redbridge striker. Which I need to go and watch Dagenham and Redbridge next season. They've got Andy Carroll, Qatar owners, and I don't live far from there. And it's like, wow, imagine like Dagenham and Redbridge end up being like a Premier League powerhouse. Garnacho could be our new bastard. Is he a bastard or just a little whinge bag? I don't know. I don't know. But he's one of them players though, isn't it? Like you hate if he's not on your team. But if he's on your team, you love it. You love the shithousery. So yeah. Garnacho on loan. Like there's loan. I think there's loan deals to be done. These sorts of clubs that have players that they need off their books, but they're not getting buyers for. Man United are ripe for those. Rashford, which I don't know at this stage. Rashford, the player, I would take all day long. I don't know where his head's at. Sancho on loan, I would take. Again, the thing is, it's going to depend on the system that we're playing, isn't it? Because see, Sancho is more of a winger, unless if we played him in the midfield. I'm hoping that we are signing players so we can adapt and change the formation. Obviously, you want your plan A formation. So if we're playing this 5 at the back, that's our plan A formation. If we are playing 4 at the back, then that's our plan B formation. Do you know what I mean? And we've got players for that. But yeah, at the end of the day, all we can do is sit back and hope we get the business in we need. Diouf is a very good start. I'm happy with that start. It's a start. We still have a long, long way to go. This team needs a massive rebuild. After the rebuild, last summer's rebuild was an absolute failure. I don't think we're getting Doku. I don't think there's any chance. I would love him, but I don't think there's any chance. Last summer's rebuild was a failure. Now this summer we need another rebuild, but we haven't got the funds. So it's just gonna have to really scout our asses off. That's what we're going to have to do. Scout our asses off and find those gems. Bring them. Bring the gems. Obviously, look, Diouf wasn't a cheap hidden gem. He's at Slavia. A lot of teams are looking at him. But we're going to have to find the Dioufs before they get to that stage. When he was in Norway and things like that. We're going to have to really scout. Nice to see you're overselling us, Kudus. Oh, listen, Alex, I'm well over it. For some reason, I don't know why, I thought he was a West Ham fan. I'm well over Kudus going. This is, you know what I mean? Like, if we get the signings we get in with the Kudus money, then I'm happy. Like, at the end of the day, Kudus was crap for us last season. I tell you what, that video he did was so cringe, though, where the guy's doing the medical and he's like listening to his heartbeat and he's like, you'll find Spurs there. Oh, it's like, you're trying too hard, mate. You're trying too hard. Rashford to West Ham news. There's surely nothing official. He done all right on loan at Villa, but he petered out towards the end, didn't he? He sort of faded. So I'm just not sure where his mind is at. Maybe we could have a Lingard effect on him. You know, it's one of those ones. But yeah, loans is definitely gonna have to be where it's at. Do you think Potter would be able to get turned out of Scamacca if we get him back on the loan to buy? I think that ship has sailed. I like Scamacca. Again, if we're going to play to his strengths, get players round him, link up, then yeah, Scamacca could be good. I wouldn't mind a round 2 of Scamacca. Hilaire, another one, ship sailed, but I would have liked to have seen in a team that is built around him. That's what we need. But the striker that we get, I want pace. I want some pace up front. I want someone that can play off the shoulder and make those runs. Is Alvarez going? That's a good question. Alvarez just had a really good tournament with Mexico. I think they won the cup, Gold Cup, I believe. And yeah, look, he's been linked with a move for a while. For the last few months, we've been hearing about Alvarez going. He's a really good player. It's another one, like, on his day, he's a good player, but you know, he has disciplinary issues in terms of red cards and sending offs and that. He found himself out of position last season. If we got good money, then I'll take it. I'm not taking it, not getting rid of Alvarez on the cheap. I think he's a good player. I really do. But I would replace him for someone younger and quicker and more physical. I'm not saying he's not physical, but, you know, like I said, in the mold of like Diouf, he's not a pacey player, Alvarez. He's quite slow. And we already have a very slow midfield. So if we could get a similar Diouf type profile in the mold of a DM, then I'm happy. I'm also happy to maybe look at moving Alvarez back at centre-back as one of the 3 centre-backs and keep him there so he's not doing what he did last season and ends up round the bloody edge of the opponent's penalty area where one of our other centre-backs in Mavropanos also like to occupy and will just leave massive gaps and space at the back. That's what we don't want. So, yeah, James Ward-Prowse out, agree. Nothing against him. Mate, who knows how he could be with, other better players around and things like that, and more pace around him, and he could just be feeding players. But we need to get something for him. I think it'd be hard to sell him. Could he please, though, just like we could sell him after like the Sunderland game, and he can at least score the free kick. He hasn't scored a single free kick for West Ham. Ings has scored more free kicks in a West Ham shirt than flipping James Ward-Prowse. Typical West Ham way. Any news on Mikel Antonio? Last thing I heard is that they're keeping an eye on him. He's training. They're looking to see if he's going to be fit enough to give a contract. I think they want to at least let him have that little last hurrah, but the finances have got to be right. He wants a little bit more money. He's got to prove that he's fit enough for it. At this stage, I'd love to love him for him to have a little goodbye or whatever like that. But nah, at this stage, I think it might be best to just part. Yeah, honestly. Souček got to be kept, but squad only. Yeah, I agree, Brooke, unless the money's right. But Souček off the bench, I think, is a very good option in terms of, trying to go more direct, having a player that can make those late runs into the box, crosses in. There's no doubt that he's a goal threat, without a doubt. But as a defensive midfielder, or even as a centre midfielder, whichever one to call him, just his ability on the ball is massively lacking on the ball. So when it comes to Souček, we need to utilize him in a way that caters more to his strengths off the ball, which is where he thrives. And I think off the bench, late in the game, and the physical he is, I think he's a very, very good option. That's what we need. Plan Bs. Plan A is not working. Change it up. Here comes Souček, the battering ram. He's good in the air. He's good at striking with his feet. We've seen him score with both his head and his feet. I would be happy to keep Souček. And again, he's the sort of person that we need in this dressing room. We're in this transition period. We need leaderships. We need people that know what it means to play for the club. We've lost a warrior in Sufal, one of those players. I think it's really important to keep someone like Souček in the team. But if the price is right, then I would sell maybe 25 to 30 mil, because let's not forget, in the eyes of PSR, FFP, whatever it is, selling Souček would be 100% pure profit, because he's been here longer than the period of his first contract. And so we've signed him to a new contract. So we've effectively paid off his fee. We've paid off his transfer fee that we originally paid. So now if we sold him, it would be documented as pure profit in PSR, which would give us more leverage and more leeway. So it's just more valuable. So selling a player that's pure profit for 20 million is more valuable than selling a player that isn't for the same price, for example. So, yeah, it depends. It depends how much Moyes wants. Because let's be real, that's who's coming through him, David Moyes. That's who's going to be the guy who wants to buy him. So, yeah, it depends on how much Moyes wants him. So we'll see. But yeah, the best forward option, the striker market at the present is tough. It's tough, and for the options for us, unless there are loans out there available for unwanted, like a Højlund, which I wouldn't want Højlund. Jackson, I like him. He's all-round game, but his finishing is atrocious. I think Nicholas Jackson at Chelsea, his days are absolutely numbered. Obviously, didn't play in the final for the Club World Cup. They've got Pedro. They've got Delap. His days are numbered. Maybe we could explore a loan for Nicholas Jackson, but that's going to be if no one immediately comes in for him. That could be a good bit of business. His all-round game and the profile, I think, would really suit us. But again, he's finishing. We're not going to create the same level of chances that a Chelsea are going to create. So that is the issue. Like, we're not going to get serious numbers from him, but his all-round play could help facilitate other players putting in those numbers, depending on how we utilize him. Jesus, another one, maybe a loan, but I would have Jackson over Delap. Jackson doesn't suit us at all. I don't know. I think he's like I said, he's all-round game. He's not a fox in the box sort of player. You know, he can bring other players into play. It's fairly quick. I think Jackson, in terms of being a player on the pitch, in terms of the team, I think would be good. If we're expecting him to do the heavy lifting in terms of goals, no, I don't think that's it. So it depends. I would absolutely take him on loan. Absolutely take him on loan, for sure. Jesus, I would have Jackson, like I said, over Jesus, but I'd take him on low. We have to be really realistic, I think, in what we can do in this window. And it's such a shame. And it's all David Sullivan's fault. But we will see. Wissa, I don't think we're getting Wissa. So, like, in reality, the players that we will be getting in and going for mostly will be players that we either haven't heard of, or we've heard of, but we don't really know too much about. We haven't watched too much, like a Diouf, like outside of the England game and, maybe a couple of European games, players that you don't know inside out. We're not going to get a lot of Prem players I don't think we get any players from the Premier League unless it's a loan, to be honest with you, just because of the finances. Is West Ham going in for Ugarte? They only just got him, innit? I can't see you. I know, like, a lot of Man United fans aren't happy with Ugarte, but I can't take. I can't see Man United moving him on unless there's good money. So unless they want to loan him, we ain't getting Ugarte. Diouf is going to cook. I think so, Damien. I've got a good feeling. I've got a really good feeling about Diouf. So let's say I'm more than happy with the BFG, but another mobile striker would be good. Yeah, like, I'm sorry to say this, I'm going to touch wood here. Like, Füllkrug's probably not going to stay fit for the season. That's just a reality. That is just the reality. Hopefully they'll get some diamonds in the rough. That's what we need. That's what we're going to have to do because of the finances. I don't even know this Diouf geezer. I saw a YouTube clip, 2 minutes. Reminds me of a better version of King Arthur. But yeah, I mean, I think there's similarities, but I think he's much more quicker and a bit more direct. But I loved Masuaku. I know he divided opinion. So yeah, we've lost 2 strikers, Ings and Antonio. Füllkrug is all we have. We've at least got to bring one in, and there's no clear youngster that's ready to come in and to be a third choice or even a second choice. That's the problem. So we're really going to have to explore that in the transfer window. I don't know why we are prioritizing goalkeeper. I know Fabianski's gone. I would have been okay with going into another season with Areola and Fabianski. I know it's not the best combo, but I think it just wasn't a priority compared to other positions, goalkeeper. So we really seem to be pushing that. And I think if we're going to spend money, striker is a must. 2 midfielders, a must. So let's see. Hopefully these players, like I said, they're going to be fit, going to be ready, going to be active and ready to go. Diouf, I think, is the Diop. I'm thinking Diouf and Diop. Diouf is the lift that this fan base needs. Bit of transfer high there, where we can enjoy it, a new player. However, a lot of work to be done. We are nowhere near ready for the season. This squad needs work. So, hopefully I'll be back with one of the other lads. Obviously, look, we're going to keep up to date with all the transfer news. Going to get some of the other lads coming on and giving their opinions when I can get hold of them. But hopefully the news starts to roll in now and it starts to pick up and move on to the next targets, and we will keep up to date. So thank you all. Like I said, I like going live as well because a lot of you guys will put stuff in the chat that maybe I've either not thought about or I've forgotten, which always helps. And you make some really good points and add some good stuff. So thank you all in the chat. And thank you, Matt, as well for the super chat. I will let Scott know. So thank you all, and we'll see you soon. We'll keep you updated. One thing left to say. Come on, you Irons.